Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. I'm Will Bauma, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Indigenous Affairs and First Nations Economic Reconciliation and the Minister of Northern Development. I will be your MC today. I want to start off by acknowledging the lands we are on, and I want to thank the communities involved for having us here today, including Aroland First Nation, Ginoogaming, AZA, and Long Lake 58 First Nation. Today, Premier Doug Ford and Minister Greg Rickford will make an announcement about Ontario's continued partnership with these First Nations. I am pleased to have my colleague and friend Kevin Holland, MPP for Thunder Bay, Atikokan here with us today, as well as Michelle D'Emmanuel, Ontario's Secretary of Cabinet. Thank you for being here. To begin, Elder Victor Chappies will provide an opening prayer. Then we'll hear remarks from Mayor McPherson, Minister Rickford, Premier Ford, Chief Matanzanine, Chief Gagnon, Chief Taylor, and Chief Desmoulins. Then Elder Chappies will provide a closing prayer and will open the floor for media questions. So with that, I would like to invite Elder Chappies to the podium for an opening prayer.
Elder, how are you? Good to see you. Good morning. I like the way he calls my name, Chappies. It's Chappé. You know, and that's not how it's supposed to be. It was supposed to be a straight arrow in Cree. But when we signed the treaty, the man behind taking names was French. So he spelled my name the way he heard it. But it's good to be here. You know, you look around, you see the nature. And you know, that's where we come from. We're nature. Us original people that were here come from the land. We come from a long line of ancestors that persevered and it made it possible for us to be here today. You know, it's not by accident that we're here. It's by cooperation. And it's cooperation that brought us here. It's cooperation that showed us how we could live together and prosper. And the benefits for all of us, not just the First Nations. All of us are going to be benefiting from this. But you know, we have to remember too, there was trees here where we're standing. There was water where we're standing. We have to remember that. We have to take precautions to make sure that we look after the land so that the next generation could benefit just as much as we were benefiting. And that's the message that I want to give. And I'm grateful that we're able to cooperate with each other. We went down, Creator, I'd just like to thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful weather that you're sharing with us, and I ask that you continue to bless each and every one of us today. And I ask that give thanks to the gifts that you so generously share with each and every one of us. The sun that shines, the air that we breathe, the water that gives us life, the trees, the air, the fire, the rock, and all those sacred spirits of the animals, the four-legged, the crawlers, the swimmers, the winged ones. Creator, I also like to ask the spirits of the two-legged, whether they be red, yellow, black, or white, to bless us today and watch over us, look after our families, so we're able to be here today in celebration as we go on together and with walking this path together and looking after Mother Earth. Miigwech.
Thank you, Elder Chappé, for starting us off in a good way. I will now invite the Mayor of Greenstone, James McPherson, to the podium. Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Boma. Good morning, Premier.
Good morning, Mayor.
Minister Rickford, Chiefs Damoulin, Gagnon, Matasanine, and Taylor. What a great day. What a great day. Mr. Premier, thank you for coming back to Greenstone for the second time in 8 months. We are very much getting used to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Rickford, you're no stranger to our area. Probably getting to be an honorary citizen. We are very grateful for all your help. Greengstone, that's what we are. And Chiefs, wow, look at what we have before us. This is absolutely huge. Your leadership in your communities have been strong and effective, and we're seeing the results of that leadership and that leadership working together. We, as the municipality, look forward to continuing to develop a strong and respectful relationship as we work together for the betterment of this entire region. We wish everybody here today all the best, and thanks for being with us in this tremendous celebration.
I need to apologize again. I also forgot to introduce Deputy Minister Sean Batiste, who's joined us today from Toronto. Where are you, sir? There he is. Thanks, Sean, for being here. I'd now like to ask the Honourable Greg Rickford, Minister of Indigenous Affairs and First Nations Economic Reconciliation and Minister of Northern Development, to share some remarks. Minister?
Well, still good morning, folks, and how about these 4 First Nations leaders, their communities, and the municipality of Greenstone? Let's give it up for them, folks. This isn't just a story about today, although it's a magnificent one and it's historic. It's really about a story of meaningful partnerships, building the kinds of relationships that get us to a place and gets the Premier to a place where he decides to rename our portfolio and add First Nations economic reconciliation. And if you unpack what we're doing here today, Premier, how about we just launch the ministry right here, right now? Doesn't that sound good? It sounds like the right thing to do. I want to thank the Chiefs for their work right up to the very last minute. We've put together a project that will transform this region. Some of it has already been underway, but mobilizing, obviously, a workforce of talented young First Nations people, fortifying the infrastructure here for a future that can serve this region, that can serve communities farther north to us. I can't think of a better thing to do. When we were here 7 months ago, of course, we were laying the foundation for real economic partnerships. We heard loud and clear from the leadership then, the leadership now, that they wanted to be a meaningful part of commercial and industrial enterprise. They'd already set the standard in terms of their work with Greenstone and Equinox, and a credit to them that they were able to take up positions in the business of mining and in the business of the supply chain related to operating a mine, and then evolve to commercial capacity and move out to training to ensure that the face of the labor force here and in the future included young First Nations people. And along the way, Your Worship, that we would put a laser focus on the municipality of Greenstone, what it means as the second largest municipality in size, but one of the smaller in populations. You've got something the rest of them don't have, and that's the 4 people standing beside you, right? Put together, ladies and gentlemen, it puts us in a place where we once dreamed about is now a reality. And so to that end, I want to thank everybody for the work that they've done. I won't name them all, but there's still a lot of work to do. No question about it. But I couldn't be more pleased to serve a Premier and work with the First Nations leadership here and our cabinet to ensure that we do the right things to make First Nations economic reconciliation meaningful, but on the ground transform a region that will fast become a new center of gravity for resource development, but also legacy infrastructure to make sure that these communities have what they need to operate now and serve other First Nations communities farther north in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Greg Rickford. I'm the Member of Provincial Parliament for the Great Kenora Rainy River riding. It's a privilege and an honor to serve my constituents and the Premier, and as a huge fan of the 4 communities in the municipality of Greenstone, to serve you too. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Minister. And now I have the great pleasure of welcoming our Premier, the Honourable Doug Ford, to say a few words. Premier.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Will. And it's great to be back up here in Greenstone, and thank you, Mayor. I wasn't too sure if it was 7 months, 8 months, but it's fantastic. And the last time we were up here, what a great announcement we had as well. And I want to welcome again Minister Rickford, who's a true leader when it comes to his ministry, and PA Will Boma and PA Kevin Holland. And Mayor, thank you as well. Well, we have you down here on the next line, but Elder Victor as well, thank you for acknowledging us being here today. And of course, this wouldn't happen without the Secretary of Cabinet, Michelle D'Emmanuel, and obviously the Deputy Minister Batiste. Thank you for all the work. And I'll never forget, you know, when I eventually retire, I'm going to sit back and think the time as the 4 First Nations leaders came to Queen's Park. I called Sonny into my office and I said, Sonny, let's get this thing done. You know, you do have to go through the public service, and they do incredible work. But sometimes it takes a few people to come into someone's office, talk about it, and Sonny, I don't know if you remember us shaking hands. That's something that will stick in my mind forever. And Sonny did say I have to talk to the rest of the leadership, which he has. He says he can't do it without making sure that they're on side. But what all of us have done here, we've blazed a new trail. We've you know, created the opportunities, we've created the conditions and the environment for First Nations communities to thrive and prosper and grow. And just this alone, when I came up here, all the work that's been done, I want to acknowledge the hardworking folks over there in those orange vests. It wouldn't happen without them. I also want to acknowledge Eric and the team from Greenstone Gold Mines. I understand we're going to be heading over there in a little while, and all the representatives of the development corporations, as well as the First Nations leaders joining us today, including Chief Yvette and Chief Sonny and Chief Sherry and Chief Judy. Thank you for everything you've done, because without your collaboration and cooperation, this would not be happening right now. This is your legacy that you can drive by and tell your children, your grandchildren. If it wasn't for your leadership and everyone's cooperation, this wouldn't be happening right now. And it's such an honor to be here with you today, especially during National Indigenous History Month, an important time, and acknowledge and learn from the rich history, cultures, and contributions of the Indigenous peoples. We're so grateful to have partners like yourself working with us to promote economic growth and prosperity for First Nations communities in Northern Ontario, and I thank you for that. Since day one, our government has been dedicated to building meaningful partnerships with First Nations communities across the province, true partnerships that put First Nations leaders in the driver's seat to help ensure their communities have the same access to critical services and can share the same economic opportunities as those in other parts of our province. We recently announced that we're working with 5 First Nations communities to help end their reliance on costly and unreliable diesel-powered generators to support greater First Nations self-determination. You know, people in Toronto, they don't have a clue, not a clue living on diesel. Not relying on a fly-in community. they can't even comprehend it. Now, with the road that we're working on, you're going to have food, you're going to have health care, you're going to have proper energy as well. And we're partnering with the First Nations to build roads, highways, and other critical infrastructure projects. Earlier this year, we signed a community development agreement with the Martin Falls and Webequie First Nations, supporting economic development in the region. As these two First Nations continue to lead and make real progress on their environmental assessments to build the All Seasons roads to the Ring of Fire, and friends, today I'm thrilled to announce that we've signed a new historic agreement with the 4 First Nations in the Greenstone area to support long-term growth and prosperity in Northern Ontario. This is absolutely massive, folks. I think it's huge. This is really, really good. This renewed partnership provides funding to drive economic development, to build, upgrade the roads that improve access to critical minerals and resource development opportunities, and to help connect First Nations communities to essential services. The funding includes investments to upgrade and maintain Highway 584 and Highway 11, with pavement rehabilitation on the 584 set to begin this construction season. That's big. We're also investing additional $2 million to support construction of the Megazi Plaza Rest Stop. Hopefully I got that pronunciation right, but it's right here. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be absolutely spectacular for the community. Okay, I screwed that up. I can tell by the laughter. Okay, you can teach me after. Okay, and $1.9 million as part of our government skills development fund to help Indigenous community members secure better jobs and bigger paychecks in Ontario's growing resource sector. The province is also going to work with local communities to improve public safety, including relocation of our Greenstone OPP detachment. I see some OPP officers, thank you. And you know, one of my OPP details, Rudy, lived here for 5 years. So he's a mainstay. He knows every single road in this. But Rudy, where are you, buddy? He's hiding somewhere. No, he's back in the truck, okay. He even pointed out, this is where I used to live, and this is where I used to go, and I rented this room, and anyways, it's all good. He said he bought his first place for $42,000. He served 5 years with the OPP, and he sold it for $42,500. Those same house is going for about $100,000 to $120,000, which is good. You can see the prosperity going up. Friends, this historic agreement is going to help strengthen Greenstone region. It's going to better connect First Nations and northern communities to the province's highway network and improve year-round access to everyday essentials like food, fuel, and healthcare. And that's what I was saying earlier. People don't have a clue down in the city, not being able to go down the street for food or hop in your car. Well, we're going to change lives. And on top of this, I always say infrastructure is critical everywhere in Ontario. We're spending about $190 billion. But do you know what changes people's lives and communities is broadband. High-speed connectivity to anywhere in the world. The kids, the businesses, the people will be able to go online and have high-speed broadband connection. It's going to help attract new investments and new jobs for First Nations workers, and it's another major step forward in unlocking the economic potential of our province's critical minerals. Doing so responsibly and sustainably, and I'm going to repeat that, responsibly and sustainably, and most importantly, in partnership with First Nations. Again, I want to thank Chief Yvette, Chief Sonny, and Chief Sherry, and Chief Judy for helping reach this agreement. And we're going to continue working with all our First Nations communities to create jobs and support long-term economic growth, all while putting First Nations input and interests first. And I just want to thank everyone once again. It's such a great feeling. You know, you fly in here, and with all the cooperation, collaboration, you know you're changing people's lives. And I can't wait to come back again And when you're feeling a little better, Sonny, we're going out fishing because you promised me fishing the last time I was here.
I need an anchor.
We'll use Rickford as the anchor. Don't worry. It'll be good. Yeah, anyways, everyone, thank you so much, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Premier. Much appreciated. Well said. And so the Premier is now going to sign the letters of confirmation. Yep, good.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Deal's done.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So now I'd like to introduce the Chief of AZA, Yvette Matanzanine. Chief.
That's okay. That's okay. Good morning, Miigwech. What's your name again? Boma. Boma? MC Boma. It's not AZA. Our First Nation is called Animbiigoo Zaagi'igan Anishinaabek.
I'm practicing.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a great day to be invited to this this announcement with Premier Ford. I'd like to acknowledge Premier Ford. I'd like to acknowledge Minister Rickford. I'd like to also acknowledge my counselor, Harvey Nanagishik, that is here today. My staff, Joe Donio, Mason Schwanamash, and one of the employees for GGM is William Matanzanine. And I'd like to also acknowledge everybody else that is here. I have Brian Spencer also with Kluche. Welcome. I think it's really important to acknowledge our people when we have these announcements, these gatherings, to recognize them. You know, they are our people, and you know, they have employment with all the success that's going on within our area. I also want to acknowledge my fellow chiefs this morning also, Chief Sherry, Chief Sonny, Chief Judy. It's been a pleasure working with these chiefs. I was just newly elected in November, and I just like to say that it's been a pleasure working with these chiefs so far. I also like to acknowledge GGM, Eric, Dave, and rest of GGM staff that is here with us celebrating this historic announcement. As you can see the sign, it's Miigwech. I can't even say it. Miigwech. I'm sorry. I told Joe I knew I was going to say it. And I told Joe this morning, I said, why do you guys got to pick such names, you know, for these opportunities, these businesses that we have, just like Ginoogaming. I finally learned how to say that. And with that, I also like to acknowledge John Glover, wherever there he is. So with that, I am pleased to be here. This is a great opportunity for our communities, all our 4 communities within and Greenstone. I also forgot, I'll also acknowledge Mayor McPherson also. But it's always, it's a pleasure to be part of this, and these opportunities that we have before us is going to create employment for our communities. They're going to enhance our communities, you know, in every which way. You know, we're all here for the same reason: prosperity, to make our communities grow healthy. And I just want to say that we have a good partnership with Greenstone Gold Mine, and with Kluche and all the other partners that are here with us today. I just like to acknowledge that. And with that, miigwech, and I look forward to rest of the day with each and every one of you. Miigwech. And by the way, I didn't have to write a speech, so I was waiting for my lines to come up here, but they didn't have them.
So I can tell the Deputy Minister is going to be scheduling a pronunciation briefing for me when we get back to Toronto, right, sir? Yes. Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to welcome Chief of Aroland First Nation, Sonny Gagnon, to the podium. Chief. You go, we go.
Good morning, all. Just want to acknowledge the elder for Chappie for opening prayer, and acknowledge all the leadership from the communities, the leadership from the province, and no Anishinaabe, that's a Ginoogaming, just a Gagik to Anishinaabe. It's Chinan dan no Gomagi ska Wato to Manko, Juit no Kim go. Yeah, it's going to go my tata, so I don't know how to say province in Ojibwe, but the leadership in the province want to no manakio ikchinenda me show he no kim tiang kana mo ata mo I can jumboiking can eat about me whippy up cook gin this young this yes so soon I was rich again with you I want to listen to man Chick can't watch it happened to watch gave gin and tower Gin this young son, I mean, go. I want to. I was rich cat. I go. Get cook chin and I go. He conok no cart monk. I thought monk. To translate. I guess everybody's just looking at me. I'm speaking Greek or something, but to translate that, I just want to acknowledge the First Nations that assisted in us, acknowledge the blessing of our elder, and then the Premier for coming all the way down here. I was hoping the black flies would be out so we could really get them, because they like white meat instead of dark meat. But again, it just goes to show how working collectively, what you can achieve by working collectively. The First Nations, the province, and the proponents. These are the things that we can achieve. I was kind of, I'm going off topic here, but I was kind of disappointed a couple of weeks back, when there was an announcement from some company that wants to build a ring of fire without even saying boo to Aroland. But again, that's another story. And this is the kind of thing that I wanted them to hear, the success stories that can have when everybody works together to achieve what we want to achieve. Not just, I've been talking like this. I've been past chief for when Cliffs Resources came here. They operated like, they're a U.S. company. They can just come in and do what they please. Well, the strong message to Wylie was that, you can't do the American way of doing things in our backyards. You have to do it our way. It's our way or the highway, as the saying goes. And I talk not only on behalf of Aroland First Nation, I speak on behalf of GREENSTONE, a municipality, and it's a huge municipality. Where somebody tells you to get out of town, it takes you 4 hours to get out of town. And this is why we have to bring local economy here. And then when I spoke my language, what I was trying to point out is that, you know, the resources that we get from this Greenstone gold mine is what we're going to use to revitalize our language, because that is the key to your identity, your culture, and that is why, you know, this kind of agreement, you know, that's the backbone of where we want to be and where we want to go and how we want to get there. And the best way to do it is that what we're doing today is to work collectively. And again, the Premier kind of hinted, you know, that we did, you know, shake hands. And, you know, the handshake I had was a little more than just a handshake. So we're going to be looking at, you know, moving forward with developing the Ring of Fire. And like I said, it's going to take time. And so somewhere in mid-September, we'll have something, you know, that we will be announcing with the two communities, with Martin Falls and Aroland. Right now, it's still too early to say, but we will be making an announcement on how we're going to be going. So, yeah. So with that, you know, as a beach beast, what I said is the rain is coming, so I don't want to really get the, you know, the other speakers on. So I really don't want to thank you. I want to thank, you know, the GGM for all the work they did, and the municipality and all the workers for the coaching, all the people that's involved with that, and most, you know, I really want to see this plaza grow. And today is a good day that we're going to start moving on, you know, moving this development forward. So with that, I thank you, and you know, I did my speech in syllabics, but it's not there. Okay, I thank you very much.
Oh, Sonny, if I get reined in, I can't get on that little puddle jumper plane, I'm bunking with you, buddy. He doesn't know it until I'm lying beside him at night.
Thank you, Chief. Very much appreciate your words. Now I'd like everyone to please welcome the Chief of Ginoogaming First Nation, Sherry Taylor. Chief.
Miigwech, everybody. I don't have my notes on the teleprompter, so bear with me. I did bring my speaking notes with me. I'd like to introduce myself. Wabshke Nimki Benesekwe, Nindishnakaz, Sherry Taylor, Ogamakweg, Chief, Ginoogaming First Nation. Miigwech to the elder for our prayer this morning, and to our walking bear drum that will render a song for the occasion after we finish speaking. I'd like to acknowledge all of our staff that are here. You know who they are. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I do like to acknowledge the staff and the council members that are here, and our elder from Ginoogaming with our drum group. I'd like to say good morning to Premier Doug Ford and Greg Rickford, Minister of Indigenous Affairs and First Nations Economic Reconciliation. Good morning also to other officials who are here from Greenstone on James Bay Treaty No. 9 lands. Please remember that long before this area was a municipality, Indigenous peoples were here. On this land, there are many grandfathers who are worth something different to our non-Indigenous brothers and sisters. I wanted to say that, contrary to Minister George Preary's recent unfortunate comments, our grandfathers are not begging for exploration holes, and our lands are not empty. It is regretful that I have to start off my remarks pointing this out, but it must be said that all Ontario ministers must be clear and on board with economic reconciliation, and that means being respectful to First Nations and addressing long-standing grievances. I want to start by acknowledging our shared land with my fellow chiefs, Yvette Metasanine, Sonny Gagnon, and Judy Desmoulins. I appreciate the comments made by Premier Ford and Minister Greg Rickford regarding Ontario's investments to this site and to the road. As partner in Ginoogaming Development, LP, and KIC, I welcome the investment Our people need the training and capacity to be able to participate in this development. From the outset, I wanted to be clear that Ginoogaming First Nation is standing here under duress and that we have issued a media release to that effect. As a First Nation who currently sits in a state of emergency, it does not feel naturally good for me to feel completely happy today. There is still so much my community and my community members are suffering from that hasn't been addressed, even though we have asked our treaty partners, the federal and provincial governments, for help. Our community is not starting at the same place in the starting line when it comes to Ontario's focus on investments in Greenstone. It is not missed on me that projects that benefit the government of Ontario are taking precedence over the resolution of our state of emergency, and that 7 decades of grievances that we've experienced have not been resolved. Time and again, we have showed Ontario how it can help us, but it never happens. We've had forestry, mining, hydro, including water diversions, and land sale issues. We have mining withdrawal issues related to our treaty land entitlement that are affecting us today. We have issues regarding industry-owned land, a tenured water lot, and an industrial road. And last but not least, our bridge that comes into our community, you know, that transports our children. A bridge that is rotten and it's going to break down. And our children and our people have to cross that every single day. These are all the issues that Ontario can help us resolve in order for us to be at the same starting line as I mentioned earlier. I want to give my heartfelt thanks and gratitude for many people who helped to make this possible, for this day of this investment that's been this, what you see behind us, this McGizzy Plaza, and what we have today. There's many people that are behind that, many past chiefs, leaders, and the people that are working for us today that I want to mention. I give great thanks to them. And I mean no disrespect today, and I commend your wonderful work. But we need to address the real issues too in our communities. There is no doubt that Ginoogaming will benefit from all of this. In conclusion, I want to thank everyone for being here today. And I hope I have spoken to open your hearts and you take away the words I have spoken to do what is right for our people. I'd just like to say thank you and miigwech, and thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Chief. Your words are not falling on deaf ears. And for our final speaker, I'd like to welcome the Chief of Long Lake 58 First Nation, Judy Desmoulins.
Chilly here. Okay, good morning, or is it still morning? Good morning, everybody. I'd just like to acknowledge the words of the chiefs that spoke before me. Thank you, Chief Sonny, for acknowledging our language. Thank you, Chief Matasanainen, for acknowledging all of our people. You know, we can never forget our people. I stand here with great honor, you know, on behalf of all of our people from, you know, all of in our area. And for Chief Sherry, you know, I'd just like to echo her words because all of our communities are going through much the same. And, you know, but this, what we're seeing today is a, you know, a true ray of hope, a true way of, a true ray of light. It looks kind of dark today, but good thing we have some fake lights happening there. But you know, it is a good path forward. And you know, it all started, I never really understood, you know, what economic reconciliation was, you know, until GGM came along. And, you know, I'd like to thank Eric and his leadership in that whole process, because he looked to us as partners here in the area. And, that was a really good start. And we've learned a lot through this, through that process. And, I saw it on the screen there in somebody's speech about being in the driver's seat. We are the gateway to whatever's going to happen in the Ring of Fire. And, we have to do this right, First Nation people. As First Nation people, we have to do this right. We have to get in there right from the beginning, be part of it all, and not just be an add-on. Long Lake 58 is not part of this particular project, but, but we fully support, the three communities that have gone forward with this. And we are doing other things and they fully support us, and that's the way it should be, because there's definitely enough to go around. And, it's high time that, we've come together like this and we're going to share, because that was the true spirit of the treaties that were made way back then. There was supposed to be the sharing. We wouldn't be, the conditions that Chief Sherry spoke about. We wouldn't be in that situation had this happened 100 years ago when development started happening in our area. We wouldn't be like this. And, we're setting a new standard. We've started that. And even in our own communities, we set that new standard. We need to look after all that substandard housing, the substandard infrastructure that we have, and not enough infrastructure. And it's through these partnerships, that all of this can happen. And again, I just want to acknowledge our people. We're standing here because of them. They are our true drivers to do what we need to do. And, I've been in this for 40 plus years. And, a great change has happened in that short period of time. And I'm grateful for that. And, reconciliation, that's a big word. And not everybody's really on the same page of what that really means. But, with the group that we have with Premier Ford and Premier Rickford, Prime Minister. No, with Minister Rickford. And I'd also like to acknowledge Deputy Sean Batiste. Again, we were just, him and I got to be careful with my words here. When we were much younger, we saw the opportunities that we should be taking on ourselves as Indigenous people. And him and I got on working on the employment and training piece of this. And, we turned it around. And it's turned around since then, and it's grown to be such a big piece of like training and employment. This is how our people can get trained and to take up these opportunities that we're developing. So I stand here, 40 some years later, and to see that it come back around to this. So I'm truly grateful for today. And again, we see the front seat of that machine over there. That's where we need to be, First Nation people. That's where we need to be. As Chief Sherry said, we're the original people of this land. So miigwech for all of this, and we look forward to even more. Oh, one last thing about the OPP station. So that was my responsibility going through all of this. So again, it's so gratifying when something comes to fruition. It's just not. It wasn't just something to do. Because again, thinking of our people. It's really sad, bad statistics of, who is processed in the, when it comes to policing. And I'd like to thank, again, Gaston Saint-Onge. He's standing out there. I really thank him for the partnership and relationship that we're forming, to address the justice type of issues that we're facing in this area as well. So, this is not just an OPP station. It's going to be a way forward to help and heal our people as well. So, again, it's partnerships and acknowledgements like this, and the just the way that people are willing to be on board together with this whole situation. So, again, thank you. Miigwech, 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 miigwech.
Thank you, Chief. I know it's not the MC's job to say anything, but looking at the leadership in this place, the visionaries that I get to stand with today, I can only say what an honor it is to be here today, to be here for this event, and thank you to everyone for being here. And so it truly is an honor to be here. And to close, I would like to welcome Ginoogaming Walking Bears Drum Group, and then Elder Chappé will provide a closing prayer. Elder Chappé?
You know, it's a great day today. You know, we don't see the sun, but it's there. We don't see, it always rises every day. And when it rises, it gives us hope. Just like, just like what this place is going to be, giving us hope. You know, our chiefs talked about the past and how far, we're not starting at the same starting gate as everybody else. You have to remember that we were just allowed off the reserve not too long ago. And then the development of Long Lac, Geraldton, it wasn't Greenstone yet. We never had a say. We were stuck in our reserve. And if you look at what happened to our economy here, if we didn't work together. Now that we're working together, we have the same goals. You know, I always go back to the bush forest, and I look around, and I talk to the trees, the rocks, the water. You know what they tell me? They tell me they work together. If you look at a big tree in the bush, that tree didn't get that big alone. It had help. If you look at the trees, they don't discriminate. They accept each other. Because in the same area that you're in, you'll see birch, you'll see poplar, you'll see jackpine, you'll see spruce. And they all work together to make the forest beautiful. And you know, you look at the tree and the leaves on the trees, and every one of them has a purpose. Not one of the trees leaves are more important than the other, no matter where they are on the tree, whether they're in the bottom or the top. They all do what they're supposed to do. And some of the things we don't even see is underground that helps that tree grow big. So this place is going to be beautiful. It's going to be big, and you're going to see people that you're not going to see people that are going to make it great. Just like that tree that you look at, it's going to be beautiful. I just like to thank everybody. I like to thank them for giving me this honor to do the prayer. At times I wonder, why am I here? Then again, you know, I'm an alcoholic. I had all those issues that our chiefs talked about. I'm a residential school survivor, and I came back and I healed. And you know, I never healed. I'm sorry to say, I'm still healing. Every day, there's something new that shows me that I have to heal some more. And when I stand here, the reason why I stand here is because someone is watching. Someone's looking at me. I have over 50 grandkids and great-grandkids. They're watching me. As fears as I am, fearful of what the things that I need to do, I do them because someone is watching me. So remember that when we're building this place, somebody's watching. Somebody's looking. And that's our children, our grandchildren. That's even some of the ones that are not born yet. They're watching us. So we have to do what we feel is right. Miigwech Mashomas Gokosnana, Wapskanaginisказнай. Miigwech can give mean going, give we do question Mashomas. We went and can we what. Creator, I ask that you give each and every one of us a blessing today. And I ask that you bless the ones that are traveling today, that they have a safe travel home. And Creator, I'd just like to continue to pray for our communities, pray for our chiefs, pray for our leaders, pray for our mayors, and all the workers that make it possible for them to be able to stand here. Because there's many that help them, and that they help us. Because we work together, and when we work together, this is what you see. Miigwech.
Thank you again, everyone, for attending, and thank you very much for those good words. Have a great day, everyone, and again, an honor to be here. Thank you.